Hello!
Hello, Vinny.
Hi there.
Vinny!
Hello.
I've got some big news. I've joined a dating app.
You are in the game now, yeah? And we are gonna find you the right girl.
Hello, I'm Sophia Jessica, and welcome to the Fan Carpet.
Hey, Marc.
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Good to see you again.
You too, welcome back. Welcome back to the Fan Carpet. You okay?
Yeah, no, I'm glad to be back. Twice in 1 year, huh?
Yeah, twice in 1 year. Well,
Twice
you keep
since
making
lockdowns.
you keep making great films.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I played it through last night. It's great.
Oh, cool, man.
It was a
I'm
lot of fun.
I'm glad you had a good time.
Yeah.
How'd you...
The first time round, Grace.
You went for Grace?
I got the Grace ending.
Yeah, you got the Grace ending. Awesome.
I know there are 10 endings, so I'm going to go back and play it again.
Yeah, absolutely. You can get to the end with every single character, and it pans out in different ways depending on how you behave and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a lot more. There's a lot of variety in this one. Definitely, there's a lot of interactivity there in that case.
Nice. Okay. So what was it about 5 Dates that compelled you to tell this story in this way?
Well, it was interesting because obviously, I had different intentions for this year. I went into the year with different projects that were supposed to be going. And then obviously, the pandemic happened and certain things got cancelled. So I kind of found myself during the first lockdown, sort of in this state where I kind of, I wasn't doing anything, like most of us. I was just, and it was a much needed break for me. I've been writing a lot. I've been working a lot on the Complex, obviously, which was coming out at the start of the last lockdown. So I had a good sort of 5-6 weeks off where I just kind of recharged my batteries. Exercised more, slept a bit more, played a lot of video games, and kind of just got that hunger back. And then halfway through it, after sort of like 4 or 5 weeks into it, sort of John rang me up and was like, I want to make something remotely, and at that point people were starting to make things remotely. Like obviously there was the Homemade series on Netflix and Staged and the lockdown stories that were here on British TV as well. So other people were starting to do it, and John wanted to do it, and I was really hungry to make something as well. I didn't want the year to just pass me by. So he said, do you have any ideas? And I always had the idea of making a romantic comedy, an interactive romantic comedy, a dating based one, obviously shot in real time. But I remember noticing that at the start of lockdown, one of the first things that was getting a lot of media coverage was, how are people going to date? How's this going to change the dating landscape? And digital dating, video dating sort of was a really hot topic, and a lot of apps were integrating in. A lot of people were trying it. And I was seeing a lot of video articles on it and written articles. So for me, it was an easy tweak to take the idea I had in my head and adapt it into this format, into what it was 5 Dates. So it was kind of, it wasn't something I started the year intending to make, but it was something that was, percolating in the head, and I think it's panned out in a more unique way than it may have done otherwise. So that's kind of the genesis of the project.
Awesome. So the roadmap for 5 Dates has got to be rather ambitious, more so than the Complex, being that there are more outcomes and more characters. So do you enjoy that sort of challenge?
Yeah, I would definitely say I did. I think the script of this is absolutely massive, and I think overall we've got about 6 or 7 hours of content in there that for people to experience. And I think the shooting remotely kind of enabled that. Because there was so much less action to shoot, and it was very much, video calls and very dialogue heavy, and there was room to put more content in there and have different directions that it could go, and for the actors to improvise and flesh out certain bits and add new bits there. So it was quite liberating in that way. It was obviously a hugely massive challenge, which we had to shoot, and we had about 10 days to shoot it, with 7 different characters. So everyone again brought their A game to it. The actors especially, because they had to step up because it was shot entirely remotely, that they had to step up and do the jobs of various different crew members. You know, they had to with assistance from our DP, they had to light themselves, they had to do their own wardrobe, their own makeup, their own production design. They had to, you know, we had them cooking props for themselves and stuff like that. So it was very much different to the complex in very different ways, but it was liberating because of the format, the condensed format. It was liberating and gave us scope for more content.
Awesome. Now you've assembled an excellent cast. What was it about this group that made them right for the roles?
It was a really thorough process that we went through. It was Heather Baston, who I'm now working with, the fantastic Heather Baston, who I'm now working with on this is my third project with her. She cast the complex as well. And I think it's got to a stage with Heather where we're very much in sync, and we really, really enjoy working with each other, and we have really good shorthand. So immediately once I sent over, you know, my character breakdowns and had a chat with her right at the start, she knew exactly what I was after. And, you know, we went through quite an exhaustive audition process for a lot of the roles. And I saw some incredible talent, you know, all around. And, you know, it just proves how much great, young, diverse talent there is in this country. That it was a really tough selection process, really. You know, I saw all sorts of different people, and when it's something like this, you have to, you know, think about things like, you know, different combinations. You know, you want to have the right balance of different personality types as well. So it was a really interesting process in that way, that it was a really massive audition process for certain roles. So someone like Taheen, that was someone who I had a very specific idea about what I wanted, and Heather said, I know this young actor, Taheen Modak, who's doing great things. And, you know, she showed me his work, and I was like, yeah, Taheen's got that thing that it's quite hard sometimes to find, that, you know, as soon as you see him, you know, you're in with him. You know, as soon as you see him on screen, he's very, you know, he's very empathetic and very likable, and he's kind of got that X factor that you're always looking for as a director. So I got on the phone to him, and, you know, again, we clicked, and he was in, and he was straight in. Georgia Hurst is someone I've worked with before, and I knew that she would smash the role as Grace. So I wanted to get her involved. So it was, yeah, it was quite a varied process, and it required a lot of talking, a lot of thinking, and seeing how different combinations worked together. But I think we got there in the end.
Yeah, proof's in the pudding. It was great. You have a very good working relationship with Wales Interactive. What's that collaborative process like when building these interactive films?
It's really liberating as a creative. Actually, they're really, you know, they really trust in my vision, creative vision as a director. I think they really respect that, you know, I'm coming from a film background, and, you know, and I respect they have their game expertise, and I think, you know, they give me space to do my thing and create my own, you know, tell my stories and stuff like that, and they respect that. And then, you know, I in turn am able to give them the scope to do their thing gaming wise. So I think it works because it's a collaboration where we respect each other's crafts and allow the other to express ourselves. And then, you know, in certain situations where it's a decision that needs to be made collaboratively, because we give each other such independence, those decisions get made pretty simply and pretty easily, and it's always for the best of the film. So I think it's a collaboration which is both independent but also very synergized. And I think that's what makes it really, 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 really work, and quite efficient.
Awesome. Yeah, because they're making some great stuff. Yeah, they're making a lot of great stuff, making a lot of strides. So with this continued work in the interactive area, do you think this is the next stage in the cinematic evolution?
I don't know about next stage. I would say that I think there's always, you know, there's some great stuff coming out right now that is, you know, traditionally linear, and I think, you know, people, you're never gonna replace that or have something that's going to usurp that or challenge that. But what I will say is I think it's the next stage in the evolution of the interactive format in itself. And I think the more content that gets out there and the more it becomes available as an alternative mode of experiencing cinematic stories, gaming stories, whatever, as this kind of halfway hybrid between traditional film storytelling and game storytelling. I think it's carving out its own niche and its own place, which hopefully will become more than just a niche very soon. The more content that gets out there, and hopefully the more that gets adopted by streaming sites, as well as, you know, obviously the gaming platforms have you know, been hosting interactive content for since its genesis, and then soon hopefully it'll expand out to target the film audience more as an alternative. You know, I can't ever say that I think that people are going to be like, oh, you know, I'm not going to watch linear films anymore. I only want to watch interactive films, because, you know, it's a different experience. It's a lean back experience compared to a lean forward experience. Sometimes you just want to sit back and let the story be told to you. Like, I just watched The Queen's Gambit on Netflix, and I thought it was amazing. I had an amazing time watching it, just sort of, you know, letting this amazing story with these amazing performances and production design and music and scripting play out in front of me, and I soaked it all in. And, you know, sometimes people will fancy a 5 dates experience, you know, something that's a little bit more engaging and engaged on their part, and, you know, interactive. So I would say it's the next stage for interactive as a format, rather than the cinematic evolution in general.
Right, yeah, absolutely. Right, so the UK has recently entered the second lockdown. How has that affected the way that you work?
It hasn't really, especially not this year. I mean, this year it's just, you know, it's kind of been like this the whole time. But even before that, a lot of your work as a screenwriter, especially, is done from home remotely. You know, the thing that it's changed is obviously the ability to make an on-set, do an on-set experience, which I had planned for this year. But other than that, you know, working from home was something I was quite adept in, and I liked, and was very much, you know, I've been doing it for the past few years of my life and career. So it hasn't really changed. It hasn't really changed it for me, thankfully. You know, it's just been business as usual. And if anything, it's made my focus even more honed, really. So there have been positives for it on a work fronting, for sure.
Cool. Yeah, because you wrote this as well. So is this based on experiences that you've had with the online dating?
No, it's not. It's based on. It's not really based on. I wouldn't say that they're the characters or anything are based on people that I know per se. It's, you know, with all your characters that you write, you always try and pool together all your experiences and your outlooks, and, you know, maybe bring some of your own personality into characters, or, you know, there's each character you want to say something, you want them to embody a truth. That in the interactive format, it is for Vinny to interpret that truth in whatever way he wants to interpret it, or whichever way the player wants to interpret it. So I wouldn't say that it's based on any experience per se. I think that they're their own unique characters, and it's its own unique situation within the world of the story.
Right. So what are you hoping audiences will take away from 5 dates when they get a chance to play it?
I think with this, more than the complex, it whatever story they want to make it. They can. I think with the complex, when you're doing a genre piece in the interactive, while it is interactive and the story can unfold in certain ways, the stakes are set for you, because, you know, you're playing these two scientists who are trapped, and the objective is to get out, whichever way they get out, and whoever they get out with those are the choices that you're making for them. But I think with this, I'd love for audiences to bring as much of their own personality and their own outlooks on, you know, relationships and not just romantic, but in life, what the type of person, the type of energies they want in their life, the type of things they're attracted to, you know, and because we're all different, and we're all different in those ways. And I think that I'd love people to just bring that into their experience, whether they play it in what they think is best for Vinny, whether they, you know, and they'll all respond to the characters differently. Some of them will love some characters, some of them will hate some of those characters, some of them will start out hating a character, some of them will then warm to them and decide that they want to pursue them. So I think I'd love people to just, you know, approach it with an open mind and bring as much of their own, you know, their own psyche to it, because that's how they're gonna experience. We're gonna see loads of different combinations and experiences of the game, and hopefully people can extrapolate different things from that.
Great. Just before you go, are there? What are you working on now? Is interactive storytelling the way that where you're going to stay, or are you like when it's safe to do so? Are you looking forward to getting back to the on-set experience?
Definitely, I've got a few interactive projects, sort of, that are kind of, almost in a state of being ready to go. And there was one that I was gonna, a couple that I was eyeing up to do this year, especially. So hopefully I'll be able to maybe do one or two of them next year. So interactive definitely a space that I want to be in at the moment, but as well as linear, I've also got plenty of linear stories there as well. But also, like what we did with the Complex, is that we released a linear version of it as a film for that audience, for the filmic audience. And I'd love to be able to do that with my interactive stories, that have them stand alone as their own interactive narratives, but within that also tell a linear story as well, have a really strong linear story to take out of that as well. So I definitely interactive everywhere I want to be, but I still also want to tell like traditional linear films as well. So that's kind of where my head's at on that.
Cool. So more collaborations with Wales Interactive, I take it then.
If they'll have me.
All right, great. Well, this has been fantastic. It's always a joy to speak to you. So congratulations with the film. Well, what do they say? Filmic game, or like what's the terminology these days?
I mean, to be honest, man, like I get it depends who you talk to. Some people call it a game. Some people call it a film. Me, I think it's just the filmmaker in me. I still say film, interactive film, but it is very much an FMV game as well. Interactive will definitely be call it a game. So you can call it either. It's interchangeable.
Okay. All right. Well, once again, congratulations, and I look forward to seeing what you do next.
Oh, really appreciate it, Mike. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.
Appreciate it. See you.
See you, mate. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching The Fan Carpet. Please follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram for more content next time.
So let's see how much more there is.
If lockdown was a game, you'd be winning it.
Callum, do you actually want to date me?
Get off. Get off. How do I hang this up? Get off.
I'm here on the largest of the Balearic Islands, Mallorca, with the turquoise waters of the Mediterranean Sea, beautiful mountainous landscape, the thriving city of Palma, quaint little market towns, a growing number of luxury hotels. It's no surprise that the likes of Audrey Hepburn and Elizabeth Taylor like to holiday here. So come and join me as I take you around Mallorca.
Thank you for watching The Fan Carpet. If you like this video, be sure to click that thumbs up button at the bottom of your screen. And also be sure to subscribe to the Fan Carpet YouTube channels. They're absolutely free and so much fun too. Be sure to check out the official website, thefancarpet.com. Also, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to stay up to date with reviews, competitions, the latest news, and so much more.